Alright guys, I got some good news and I got some bad news. So the bad news is I am no longer doing the worst setup edition on Setup Wars, at least for the time being. I know some of you guys might be upset, but I have several reasons why I'm not doing it. For those of you that don't care about the reasons, skip on over to the setups portion of the video. I'll drop a timestamp down below. So two reasons why I'm not doing worst setup edition anymore. Number one, I'm just not enjoying it as much as I used to, roasting setups. And number two, I want to focus more on spreading positivity on the channel. Even though most of you guys watching the video already know not to take it seriously, I'm obviously just doing it for fun. But unfortunately, a lot of the newer subscribers that come on board, they don't know that. So when they watch the video, they just see some person roasting kids setups online and they automatically assume I'm some bad guy or I'm a mean person. And that's kind of bad for business. So let's say the very next day, that same person scrolling through YouTube comes across one of my videos on there that's being recommended by YouTube. And he sees me on the thumbnail and he does not click on it because he remembers me roasting some kid's setup on Setup Wars. So what does that do? It hurts my CTR, my click-through rate, and overall it affects the channel's performance. So that's why I'd rather just not do it altogether. But the good news is I'll be replacing the worst setup edition with another budget edition. So you guys will get a budget edition every 5 episodes, basically, which is the second most popular edition of Setup Wars. But anyways, guys, that is a long intro. Sorry you had to sit through that. But welcome to the final episode of Season 4 of Setup Wars. Sit back and relax because you know what time it is. Are you seriously watching my videos on a PC that doesn't have Windows activated? What are you doing? If so, head on over to Digital Chill Mart or click the link below to get your very own legit CD key for less than $13. Just make sure to use the code TS50 for 50% off, you guys. Upon purchase, you'll instantly receive an email with your activation code attached. Just copy and paste that code in your activation settings in Windows and you're good to go. So we're starting off the episode with Abdul from Pakistan and his gaming and streaming setup. You know, I'm starting to see more setups going with the floating desk design, and I love it. Sometimes it's for space optimization, but oftentimes it's just for aesthetics. We got a single 27-inch Samsung monitor with the Razer Black Widow keyboard and the Logitech G402 mouse. I do admire your dedication to paint the keyboard so it matches your setup's colors, but yeah. A much better location for that mic would be in front of your keyboard so it doesn't pick up the key presses as much, and your PC would have made more sense perpendicular to your monitor. I get that you have a better view of your PC, but you kind of traded that for function. Not only do you not have any extra space for your speakers and are forced to put them in front of your PC, but the cables are more visible this way. At least the rest of the cables are managed well. We got a rack underneath the desk doing all the heavy lifting and the extra channel raceways helping with the routing. Overall, I love the effort and dedication that was put into the setup, but it just needs some adjustments to improve the functionality and aesthetics of your setup. Thank you, Abdul, for starting off the show. Speaking of functionality, here's what I'm talking about. Alex's setup from Athens, Greece is clean, straight to the point with great execution. We got the gaming and editing setup on the right and a dedicated studying setup on the left. A lot of people might think these types of setups are a bit redundant because, you know, why not just use one setup for everything, right? But having a separate area just for studying is actually a smart move because you are isolating yourself from all the distractions and it makes it a lot easier to concentrate on your studies. If I had access to my PC or the internet, I'll be on there all the time messing around and I wouldn't get any studying done. It's happened many times before. So that's why Alex decided to go with a 96-inch Carly countertop to build a gaming and studying setup. After all, if you have the space for it, why not? Plus, it's really great for expandability. So later in the future, if he decides to expand his setup, then he definitely has the space for it. He uses the 29-inch LG ultrawide for gaming and editing videos, while the 43-inch Samsung TV is for watching videos or movies. There isn't much else gear on here other than his Logitech Z333 speakers. And finally, the PC powering the setup is a budget build featuring the Ryzen 3 1200 and the GTX 950. Beautiful dual-purpose setup that you have built here. Thank you, Alex, for entering. This next setup is pure aesthetic pleasure. Brewstar from California built this beautiful setup for gaming, talking on Discord with a bit of watching anime on the side. Already I'm in love with the setup. We got this monochromatic theme up against a blacked out wallpaper, which just draws your attention back onto the setup itself. It looks like he went with a double stacked monitor layout to save some space on the desk. And to stick with the minimal theme, he opted for wireless peripherals. We got the DK61 keyboard with lubed switches and the G Pro wireless mouse from Logitech. He doesn't use any speakers, but he does own a few headsets that he keeps on a boom arm next to his PC. We got the Turtle Beaches, which are used for casual stuff, while the D770s are used for streaming. You know, I like the little things about this setup, like how he put his audio interface sideways just to free up a little bit of space, and how he covered the cable from the Stream Deck Mini with a few decorative items. For being only 15, I'm impressed with his attention to detail. Even the cable management is on point, well done. Finishing up with the PC, we got the Ryzen 5 3600 paired with the RX 570, a very modest budget build that powers a clean budget setup. Although it might be a little bland without any personalization, but if that's what you're going for, then so be it. Thank you, Brewstar, for entering. Now I know what you guys are thinking. How can this setup be in the budget edition when it has 3 monitors? That's actually a good point. I don't really know. I'm kidding, all the gear in this setup is still less than 2,000 USD. But aside from the price, can we just admire the presentation here? Such a dope looking setup with that monochrome theme and the wallpaper. The wallpaper in the back just ties everything in together so well. Eli is a student from Salt Lake City who built the setup for the purpose of gaming and schoolwork. The main display that's used for gaming is the 34-inch ultrawide from LG, followed by a 27-inch underneath for multitasking, and he uses the vertical monitor mostly for Discord. I'm actually digging this monitor layout. Despite having an odd number of monitors, he did such a good job keeping everything so organized and balanced. Since the bottom monitor is tilted near the desk, he took advantage of that and ran the wires from the keyboard and mouse around it. Nicely done. If you guys are wondering how he was able to tilt the bottom monitor like that, well, he actually used a monitor riser in the back to lean the monitor against to achieve that angle. This is a perfect way to add an extra monitor to your setup if you don't have the extra space for it on the sides or the top. For audio, he's got a pair of Logitech Z313 speakers for listening to music and the Turtle Beach XOs that are used for gaming. We also got a blue snowball ice mounted on a boom arm between his PC. Nice. Eli has done a lot of things right with this setup. I can tell he put some love and care into this, and there was definitely some planning involved. But where it falls short is in the cable management. Although some of the cables do seem to be under control, there are still some wires left untouched. And then we have the PC. The PC is probably the only thing that feels out of place, with those pink and white colors and red RAM sticks. Interesting choice for a color scheme. Now I did read the notes. Apparently this is Eli's brother's PC, and he left it for his brother when he moved out to go to college. But I still have a few questions. First off, why did he go with those colors considering it doesn't match anything else in the system? And number 2, why haven't you just replaced the cable extensions at the very least, since those are the most visible and they are the cheapest item to upgrade? Either way, it's nice to hear that you're planning on building a PC, and once you do, I want you to send in your setup again with better cable management. Thank you, Eli, for entering. This last setup might as well be in the minimalistic edition. Damn, have you seen a more simple and clean setup? Except Dustin's setup. That one doesn't count. I can't help but feel like there was a missed opportunity to go with a floating desk design. It just needed a few heavy-duty L brackets and you could have completely dished both of those legs. But either way, this is one hell of a start. He's got a 29-inch ultrawide mounted against the wall with a raceway covering the cables going across. Beautiful, beautiful work. He doesn't have much else on the desk other than his keyboard and mouse, which he also drilled a hole in the desk for. And then we have his custom PC with a bottle of Hennessy inside. Are you serious right now? Really? A bottle of alcohol inside your PC next to your components? That is either the dumbest thing I've seen or it's the most badass thing I've seen. There is no in between. I don't have any complaints when it comes to cable management. However, I do have some slight concerns about your D-Link Wi-Fi adapter that you stuck underneath the desk. I'm not too confident that piece of 3M double-sided tape is enough to hold it up. But other than that, it's a pretty sweet setup you built here. Thank you, Lukas, for sharing this with us. And that is it for today's video. As always, make sure you guys comment below. Let me know which of these setups was your absolute favorite. Guys, this is the last episode of season 4. The very next episode you're gonna watch is gonna be the new season, and I'm super excited to bring it out to you. So if you're excited, let me know by dropping a like, and I'll see you very soon in the next one. Take care.